Yo guys, it's Owens Domain here. I might not be the first person to talk about Succession Striker, of how strong it is, what its flaws are, but I can tell you my personal opinion of where it sits in the current meta. And that is very, very high. To me, Succession Striker sits in a S plus tier category and falls down to S minus whenever you talk about Elvia spots, because he might not be the most efficient grinder when it comes to grinding orcs or Bloody Monastery, but he is an incredibly good class when it comes to every other grind spot in the game, including Bloody Monastery and orcs, but you just have to grind a bit harder to keep up with other classes like Sucklon, Awakening Dark Knight, Witch, Wizard. I digress. Now, I'm not speaking from a place of no experience or no time with the class. I have played this class for plenty of time. I'm not as much as other people, but I've still played the class for more than enough time to get a general understanding of the class and its combos, its quick casts, its animation cancels, and just overall how to play with the class. So far, I have 14 days of time on this character. I had a striker previously a long time ago, but I ended up deleting it for a new character. But on this character so far, I have 14 hours. And I have right now 278 AP with Kudum and 347 DP. And I have full evasion right now. I'm working on Pen, Dimtree, and Pen Kudum, and then I'll be full Pen, armor, and weapons. But I still believe I can give a opinion on where the class sits, even though I'm not full Pen. Because, let's be fair, this class at really any gear score above 600 is more than fine in most grind spots in the game. And yes, you might just have to work a little bit harder, but is more than capable of clearing spots at way under the required gear score. My favorite part about the rework, and I know this is very subtle, but it's still my favorite part about the entire rework, is how the forward guard on Adamantine carries over to ankle hook now in your combo. It's a very small change, but it is a change for me personally at spots like Orc, where if you're not careful, you will get knocked down very frequently. It's just very nice to keep my damage combo going in that gap between Crimson Fang, where you lose your forward guard and you have to follow up with the Explosive Blow combo. You don't have any protection in that part of the combo, so it's very scary. So you're just trying to get to your Adamantine as fast as possible before you get knocked down. It just gives you a bit more reassurance in your combo. Now, other than that, I mean, the rework was pretty good. The Rage Hammer rework was nice. One part I really don't appreciate is Stalking Wolf no longer teleports you forward. I know it wasn't intended to work that way, but it was still fun and cool feature to close the gap on classes that have a lot better iframes and teleports compared to strikers. So it does make it a bit harder to duel certain classes that are a lot more nimble, but it doesn't make it impossible to fight them. Now, you see, I have Twisted Collision locked, and I know that makes it so I can't use Nimbus Strike. I'll use Nimbus Strike if I need to in a 1v1, but most of the time I never use Nimbus Strike or Twisted Collision because I'm so focused on PvE. My PvP combo consists of hitting Claw into Crimson Fang, into Adamantine, into Sweeping Kick, and if need be, I can do Hitting Claw again, but it's not required. And all those things work really well, but the rework didn't really cover many things other than our Shard economy with Crouching Wolf and Prey Hunt, and our Flash Step. Other than that, our rework really didn't do anything insane. We got increased grip, which is nice. I like that. It's fun to get a bit more cheeky grapples off. But other than that, they really didn't do much to our class. It sucks because I would have liked to have Striker just sit in some OP crazy state. Yes, it would have had to been nerfed at some point, but it would have been cool to see a bit of change in the meta. But here's where my thoughts kind of come to an end and I go into opinions. I do not like where the current meta sits, where Succession Striker is completely outclassed by Awakening. Awakening, yes, it's been in the limelight for a very long time, but I do not believe that is a good reasoning to make Awakening just completely mental. If they would have done the same amount of work to Succession, I would have been more than fine with it. I just don't agree with making one counterpart to a class so much better that people have to question their builds. That's just not a good thing to do when you're trying to balance a game. That leads to frustration and confusion when it comes to picking your class, and it leads to a very hard time in keeping dedicated to that class. And I've experienced that recently. I was questioning, do I even want to continue playing Striker? But I love the class so much, I put so much time into it, that I think it's just best if I stick with the class. I can tag whatever class I want with the one fuel event going on right now, but I love Striker. Striker's my class, so I'm going to stick with it. But some other people might not have the same dedication to do that. They might think, man, this just ain't for me. This game isn't for me, man. They're changing up what I like. Or maybe it's making them feel like what they like is wrong, and they need to switch to this class because they want to follow what's meta or what's the best. Because, gotta admit it, in this community we throw around what's broken or OP or garbage. So if someone's class gets called garbage, they're going to think, if they're new, oh man, I need to pick a better class. So then they're going to waste money and time swapping to that class. I don't think that's a good idea. It's a very toxic mindset that leads to instability in a meta, or a monopoly in the meta where one class reigns supreme, and we've seen that, but we don't like that. That's why this reboot was such a good idea, is because it made a lot of classes that haven't been viable for a long time viable, but it made classes that were stable unstable, and I don't agree with that. I understand there's balancing that needs to be done, but messing with the stability of a class is not something that I feel comfortable with. I believe PA really needs to reevaluate their reboots and do a second wave of reboots once the new winter region comes out. Because I understand they have their hands full with doing all the translating for the winter region so that way they can release it on NA and EU. I understand that, but we need a better rework. Succession classes did not get good enough changes. Most of the reworks went to Awakening classes, and that's not a good change. We need better Succession classes. It's not okay to have a very lopsided rework. They said they were going to completely reboot all the older classes, and we did not see that. We saw some changes here and there, like Sork, for example. Succession Sork saw almost no changes. 95% of the changes went to Awakening Sork. That is not fair. I understand Sork is in a good place in general, but Succession Sork should have seen the same amount of changes, even if it meant making Succession Sork broken. But that's all my thoughts for today. I understand I might have a very opinionated thought of this matter, but it's for a good reason. That's all for today. This has been Odin's Domain. Have a good one.